without any contradiction, the lesser is blessed of the greater. Hebrews chapter 7, verse 7. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. I am T.Y. Dunamis, and welcome to another episode of Deep Waters, Deep Hearts. We live in a generation that promotes the newness and neglects the wholesomeness of the world. And so it has, so many young minds have come with a selective approach of the scriptures, where they read only the New Testament and then see the Old Testament as archaic or irrelevant. So that's why Deep Waters, Deep Hearts has been established by God to be able to unravel this burden and to make us see the significance and the importance of the Old Testament books and how we can apply them in this new era. So today we're not going to have a quiz show, not a discussion forum. It's going to be a research presentation, and we have our contestants ready. And we're going to be, they'll be presenting on a nice topic from the Old Testament, the levitical priesthood. Why the levitical priesthood? Why was it that it was God, it was the Levites that God gave, let me say now the privilege to be able to manage all the rights or everything that has to do with the tabernacle in the Old Testament. So I believe you're going to have a wonderful time with us on this very, very special episode of Deep Waters, Deep Hearts. But before the contestants start, I would like to introduce our guest, and it's going to be a judge as well. You're welcome, sir. Dr. Mark Anthony Korea-Ucha from Grace Chapel, Pretoria East. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Briefly, sir, what are your expectations as regards the presentation?
My expectations this afternoon is to see the contestant bring out their knowledge of the scriptures on the said topic and manage the time frame appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And then our first contestant is Borofolu David. And I believe you are set here to make your thoughts known. You have just 5 minutes to talk or lecture us about this topic, and your time starts now.
Yes, good day everyone. I am David from RCCG, the youth church in Pretoria. I'm talking about the topic of levitical priesthood. It's actually denoted from the Levites. Now, the Levites are the set of Israelites who had the responsibility of taking care of the tabernacle. And how that came about was when Moses descended from the mountain and the people were worshiping a golden calf. Moses got angry, slammed the stones, but then he asked the question. He said, "Who is on the Lord's side?" And it so happened that the Levites were the one who actually came to Moses' side. And as a result of that, it's also one of those things that prompted that they will be the ones to serve in the tabernacle. Now, the tabernacle in those days was mobile because the children of Israel were moving from place to place. So they were in charge of moving every part of the tabernacle, including the things inside. And that also includes the Ark of the Covenant. Now, in the tabernacle, there is a place that is called the Holy of Holies. That place is the most sacred place in the tabernacle. And only the high priest can go into this place once a year to atone for sins and to give sacrifices while burning incense. And that was a ceremony that carried on for quite a while, even after the time of Moses. Now, apart from the high priest, there are other people as well who are appointed as priests and who serve, but the high priest during Moses' time was Aaron. So it was Moses, and then Aaron was the high priest, and then the Levites were priests who were serving under Moses and Aaron. And I'm talking about Melchizedek. Now, Melchizedek was the king of Salem at the time of Abraham. Now, there was no beginning to his story, there was no end to his story. A reference was only made during that time when Abraham gave him a tithe and he blessed Abraham. He was a king and a priest at the same time in the city of Salem, which was later then referred to as Jerusalem. Now, connecting that to the New Testament. In the book of 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 9, it says, we are a holy nation, a royal priesthood. Now that combines royalty with being a priest. So the New Day Christians are actually likened to people who can be a priest and a king at the same time, with Jesus being our high priest. There used to be a veil that demarcated the holy place from the most holy place. And when Jesus gave up his spirit at the cross, this veil was actually divided into two from the top to the bottom. So that signifies that the demarcation between God and man was broken by Jesus, and Jesus became a link by the blood that is shed. By the blood that is shed, it became a link between us and God. And he's also serving as our high priest, atoning for us and remitting our sins unto God. And that's it that I have to cover for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a good presentation. Sir, do you have any question?
Okay, if I may start from the side of Melchizedek, as you mentioned, how can you explain to us the man Melchizedek in relation to the church?
Okay, the man Melchizedek, it's actually kind of, how am I going to put it? I don't want to use the word weird, but it's more like, it has a spiritual connotation, because as I said, Melchizedek, from references in the Bible, we don't know his beginning, we don't know his end. We just know that part, and then where he was with Abraham and all of that part. Now, in relations to the church, or in relations to Christians of these days, now Melchizedek functioned as the priest and as the ruler of the city of Salem. And Christians, we are a royal priesthood. So Jesus himself then being the high priest. So through Jesus, we are actually able to function as a royal priesthood, being a ruler and then being a priest unto God.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to ask you a question. What are the items found in the Ark of Covenant?
In the Ark of the Covenant? Okay, not in the tabernacle.
What are they? Yes, in the tabernacle.
Yeah, because in the tabernacle there was, like I said, there was the piece of cloth that demarcated the most holy place from the holy place. There was the Ark of the Covenant in the tabernacle. There was a golden lamp. There was a golden lamp in the tabernacle, and quite a couple of other things that I just can't remember now.
Thank you very much. That was a good presentation. Thank you. So we have to take a break now so we can usher in the second contestant. Stay tuned. Welcome back from the break. This is still Deep Waters, Deep Hearts, and we are the research presentation for this episode on levitical priesthood. We just watched the presentation of the first contestant, and now we have a second contestant. She's going to introduce her name and You have just 5 minutes to make your thoughts known to us. Your time starts now.
Mkateko is my name and I come from Pretoria, and I'll be making a presentation today on a topic, priesthood, from the New Testament and the New Testament. From my understanding with this topic is that priests before in the Old Testament were mediators between God and man. So basically people would be coming to the priests when they have sinned against God, and the priest would be the one who's telling them what to do in order for them to ask for forgiveness from God. So in the New Testament we have our high priest, which is Jesus Christ, who as Christians, when we receive Jesus Christ in your life, you become a priest as well, because that is the person who came to die for our sins basically that's the sign that God had sent for us to receive salvation from. So when you give yourself to Jesus Christ, you become a priest in this world. That's why you have access to God, and you're able to pray and basically do what the Old Testament people were doing, asking for forgiveness from God and requesting things from God. So that's what my understanding is about priesthood.
Yes, thank you very much. That was a good presentation. I just have one question for you. Just one question. What are the contents in the Ark of Covenant, in the Holies of Holies? No idea?
I have no idea.
Okay, thank you very much, and thanks for this presentation. So we're going to have a break now so we can usher in the third contestant. Stay tuned. Welcome back from the break. It's still Deep Waters, Deep Hearts, and we are on a presentation, the levitical priesthood. So we have the third contestant now. He's going to introduce his name and he's going to start from there. So you have just 5 minutes to make your thoughts known. Your time starts now.
Hello everybody, my name is Malco Kumalo. I'm from Pretoria. Today I'll be presenting a topic called the levitical priesthood. It started back in the day when Jacob had the children, and then one of them was called Levi. So the Levitical comes from there, from his kids. So God chose the Levites' kids after he killed the firstborn son in Egypt. So when they came out of Egypt, and on the road, when Moses went to God to meet with God to write the 10 Commandments. So when he came back from the mountain, he found the children, Aaron made them a gold calf as their God. So when he got there, he smashed it, and then God made a covenant with the children of Levi, who when Aaron asked when Moses asked when he came back from the mountain, whose side were they on? So the kids of Levi, they turned to Moses, and then the others they got killed. Yeah, after that they got killed. So their duties in the Old Testament, it was to carry the tabernacles stuff. That's what they used to cover, the tabernacle and all the things they went with. So also the Ark of the Covenant, that's what they used to carry. So their priestly duties are that's what they usually used to do. So there were the priests like Aaron, who was the main priest, so he used to do the priestly duties. So the sons of Levi, which we call the Levites, also used to do that. According to the Bible, we find a character called Melchizedek, who was also the high priest, and also known as the king of Salem. Which Salem wasn't necessarily a place back in the day. It was just a prince of peace. It's not necessarily he was a prince of somewhere, which is I don't know why it was a reference to that, but he was the prince of Salem, so it was reference to Jesus Christ in a way. So it was divine encounter, when Abraham met him, when he was coming from slaughtering those who captured his brother Lot. So Melchizedek has no beginning and ending. He's the king of righteousness. He's righteous. And we'll find that in Hebrews 7, where we'll talk about Melchizedek, mostly about his origins. So compared to Melchizedek as his righteous, compared to him as a priest, and today, as asked today Christians, is that we are actually called to be priests by God through Jesus Christ, to be His holy nation, and that's how we should be. We are called to serve, not to be served. God has called us through Jesus Christ to serve, as the Levites served back in the day, and now we're called to serve, and that's how we should live currently.
Thank you very much. That was a good presentation. Briefly, sir, do you have any question for him?
Yeah, I still want to understand the normal questions asking, what are the contents of the Ark of the Covenant? Content inside the Ark of the Covenant. You don't understand the question?
I understand the question,
okay,
but I'm not sure exactly.
Okay, all right, we'll come to that.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. That was a good presentation. Thank you. So we're going to have a break now, and when we come back, we'll announce the results for the 3 contestants. Stay tuned. Welcome back from the break. It's still Deep Waters, Deep Hearts, and this week's episode, it's a research presentation. And our contestants, they've done well. You've done so well. And I would like to announce the results. I want you to know that we graded you based on so many factors, on your expression, your time management, your references, your ability to answer questions precisely, and your organization of points. And so at the end of these presentations, David, the first contestant, had 35 points. Kateko, the second contestant, you had 23 points, and then Marco, 29 points. So David is the winner of the presentation. So you're going to be going home with some gifts, which will be given to you after this episode. Yeah. And so far, so good. Viewers at home, now you've understood 1 or 2 things about the Levitical priesthood presented by our contestants. And you've understood 1 or 2 things about the Holies of Holies and the Tabernacle and the significance to the New Testament era. So it's going to be another time, same station, same time, next week. Have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.